In this video, I'm gonna give you a full step-by-step tutorial on exactly how to use SellerAmp SAS for Amazon FBA product research in 2025. I've used SellerAmp every single day in my own Amazon business for years, and it's been a huge part of me making multiple six figures in profit. So we're gonna go through steps A to Z, everything you need to know. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Miles. I'm a 26-year-old Amazon seller on a mission to help you build the business or side hustle of your dreams in 2025. Let's jump into the full SellerAmp tutorial. So to start off, guys, in terms of pricing for SellerAmp, so the cool thing is for all the different SellerAmp plans, you can try it out 2 weeks completely free. You can pay for SellerAmp annual at a further discount or monthly. The getting started plan starts at $20 per month, or if you want to go ahead and get that annually, it would be $200, aka $16.63 billed on an annual basis. And then the getting serious plan on a monthly basis is going to be $28, or on an annual basis about $23, which would equate out to $280 billed annually. There is that 2-week free trial, and the cool thing is you don't even need an Amazon seller account to get SellerAmp and start scanning products, because when you get your SellerAmp plan, you automatically get the Chrome extension, which is what we're primarily going to be talking about in this video, but you also get access to the mobile app you can go ahead and download on your cell phone to go ahead and scan product retail arbitrage. It's an all-in-one multi-tool. The big difference between the getting started plan and the getting serious plan is going to be the multiple phone app installs, the multiple Chrome extension installs on getting serious compared to getting started, as well as the 1,000 lookups per month on getting started, and then the eventual unlimited lookups on the getting serious plan. So if you're really looking to take this seriously, you might as well go ahead and get getting serious from the get-go right there. The big difference being the lookups and the extra installs right there. If you're scanning a lot of products and sourcing a lot of products, you're going to want to go ahead and get the getting serious from the get-go right there. So that's the pricing on SellerAmp. Now, once you actually have a SellerAmp subscription, the majority of what you're going to be doing within SellerAmp is either going to be on the Chrome extension, which you need to install on your Google Chrome browser from just the Google Chrome store. You can look up SellerAmp and then log in, or on your phone for the mobile app for retail arbitrage. We can now see the SellerAmp Chrome extensions right here. You can actually jump around and put this in different places if you want to right here. The main panel you're going to take a look at on the SellerAmp Chrome extension is going to be the quick info right here, which is basically going to tell you if you can sell it, right? If an item's profitable, right? And how fast that item sells. So SellerAmp's an all-in-one product research tool, which basically helps you find more profitable products. I'm even going to show you a demo of the product research side of SellerAmp, and helps you calculate the exact profit on a specific product. So to start off here, this is the buy box on Amazon for this item. We can see this item's buy boxing at $35, right? So we can see SellerAmp plugs that in right here, right? And now we can see a bunch of specific info about this product here, right? We can see the title right here, right? We can also see the ASIN, aka the Amazon Standard Identification Number right here. We can also see the weight, which is going to come in handy when we're calculating shipping, as well as the description of the product. That's not super important. We could click into the Amazon product page for this item, which we're already on, or we could go ahead and actually Google this product to see if this item's carried on any retailers, which we can see it's carried on the Gap Factory site right here. So that's where SellerAmp comes in handy for product research. I'll show you guys how to do that in a sec. We could also open up the SellerAmp Web App right here as well. So if we want to see all this data laid out in one big place, I'm going to show you guys that in a little bit later. You can connect your Amazon seller account nice and easy right here to check for ungating. If you're ever worried about ungating, I have a full ungating tutorial on my channel as well. Then we can see the alerts page. We can see this listing has variations, different colors, different sizes, as well as it actually says this listing might be private label, which private label listings are ones we can't sell. However, we can see this listing is not carried by the brand. We can see this is a third-party seller. This is not Gap here. So this is why I chose this as an example. A lot of beginners automatically avoid stuff that has the suspected private label on SellerAmp, but you need to take a look at the sellers on the listing and see if they're the brand or not, right? So that's nice and easy on the alerts page right here. If you see like a red IP alert warning, you definitely want to avoid that, right? Now, one of the main components of SellerAmp is helping you analyze products, right? So how fast a product sells. The types of items you want to avoid are items that don't sell quick. So as a good rule of thumb, you typically want to stay below a 200,000 best sellers rank when you're sourcing. We can see this item's a 117K rank, so this nicely moves, right? The lower the sales rank, the better. So a 10K sells better than a 50K, which sells better than 150K, which sells better than 200K, right? And for the most part, you want to stay below 200, right? And then estimated sales per month, you typically want to stay above 30 or 50 or more. Ideally, obviously, the more the merrier, right? We can see this listing sells about 229 times per month. And then in terms of actually calculating the profit on SellerAmp, the cool thing is SellerAmp takes into account the shipping, the fees, the sales tax, literally everything, right? So, people always watch my videos and be like, okay, but what about shipping? The cool thing is SellerAmp already takes it into account. So if I go ahead and plug in, $15.86 and match this max cost here, that's going to put me right at my minimum ROI criteria of 30% more in ROI, right? I also want to make sure I'm getting $3 plus profit per unit, right? So we can see basic winning product criteria. If you're a beginner, if you're taking notes, definitely write this down, is going to be under 200K rank, $3 plus profit per unit, and then a 30% plus return on investment, right? And you can go a little bit lower than that for like pet supplies and beauty and grocery, which don't really get returned super often, right? But for the most part, that's basic product research criteria, right? And remember, guys, we can switch up these numbers nice and easy and see if we pay 14, we make like $7. If we pay 10, we'd make like $11 profit, right? So that's why you want to always make sure you're paying as little as possible for different products. And the cool thing is as well, you can actually do math here in the SellerAmp Profit Calculator, right? So we can add like 6 to this right here, or we could subtract, 20%, right? Or we can multiply this by 2, right? Or divide it by 3, right? If it was a bundle, for example, right? So you can do math in the SellerAmp Profit Calculator, and that takes into account shipping, fees, sales tax, everything. So these are your net numbers in here as well. So that's the quick info where you get a lot of the helpful data just, at the baseline of a purchase. You also can take a look at the ranks and prices right here, which shows the current 30, 90, 180, and all-time averages for the buy box price. And if Amazon was in stock on this listing, and the lowest FBA seller and the lowest FBM seller. Honestly, though, I typically don't really look at ranks in price, although it can be helpful to see those averages over time. The Keepa BSR drops, I don't really worry about that. The net buy box price changes, don't really worry about that as well, right? And the net time to sale, don't really worry about that too. Now, the alerts page right here, this is very helpful. The alerts page shows the stuff that would show up here if anything was an issue, right? So because this is a low competition listing, it's saying suspected private label. However, we know this listing isn't private label because we can see the sellers in listing are resellers, right? The seller is not Gap or Gap Factory or whatever right here, right? And we can see IP analysis, no known IP complaint issues. That's good. Size, standard size. You don't really even need to worry about the size of an item though, because the size of an item does change the fees, but SellerAmp changes the fees if you were looking at a different product that was oversized. For example, too, we can see this listing is not meltable, which is good as well, right? And then next up, we can see the chart right here. So the cool thing is the profit calculator and the sales rank are going to tell if this is good today, if it's profitable today, and if it sells quick today, right? But then taking a look down here at the charts, we can actually see if this listing's been profitable over time, right? So when you're a beginner, right, it can be, a little overwhelming to see like the all-time data on a product, right? But for the most part, when you're a beginner, you want to take a look at the 3-month data right here. And it's also very important to note, guys, this listing has variations, different colors, different sizes, right? And the sales rank does not change when you change the variations, but the chart right here does, right? So the chart right here is the Keepa chart. There's also the Keepa Chrome extension, which you guys totally want to have as well. I have a full 8-hour free course. I'll leave a link down below in the description. It's going to have a full Keepa tour as well as show you a bunch of live product research as well. You guys should watch after this. That's by far the best Amazon content anywhere on the internet. You should totally check out the free course after this. But the cool thing is this actually shows like a mini version of the Keepa Chrome extension. You do want to have both SellerAmp and Keepa that I would definitely recommend, right? But the big things we're looking at on the Keepa chart are going to be price stability, making sure that the price is not trending down. We can see in this case, it's nicely trending steady. So we either want that steady or going up, right? And then the offer count, we want to see movement in it. We want to see it going up and down, right? Ideally trending down or nice and steady, which we can see in this case, it's nice and steady going up and down, right? So we can see we could edit that to different, times of the year, but when you're a beginner, you primarily want to look at the 3-month data. Scrolling down here at the profit calculator, this is one of the biggest mistakes beginner Amazon sellers make is when they're looking to merchant fulfill a product, they think that the way you go ahead and do that is you just subtract the merch filled shipping from this number in the profit. That is absolutely not correct. These are the FBA numbers right here, right? In order to get the FBM numbers, we need to go ahead and toggle this over to FBM, right? And then we need to plug in the FBM cost right here. So if you guys want a full guide on FBM shipping, just go to howtofbm.com. It's a free Google Doc I have for you guys that shows you the weight to estimated FBM shipping correlation, right? This is 12 ounces, right? So it's probably going to ship for like $6 right here, right? So now we can see the difference between if we were to FBA this versus FBM it, and we can see this is more profitable at FBM compared to FBA, right? Then we can also see a breakdown of the profit, the ROI, and a breakdown of the fees, so like the referral fee, the fulfillment fee, et cetera, et cetera. Personally, I just let SellerAmp do the heavy lifting with that. The variations feature right now is in beta. I wouldn't really recommend worrying about that, but you can see how different variations have sold based on size and color and everything right there. I really wouldn't really worry about the variation feature for now, though. We could add notes to different ASINs, so to different products as well, like was in stock, January 10th to January 12th. Now out of stock, right? Stuff like that. So you go ahead and track different ASINs over time. You can also go ahead and plug in discounts right here as well. Personally, though, I just like doing the calculator and SellerAmp right here instead of doing those discounts. We just like subtract this off right here, so on and so forth. Like if a website takes a tax exempt permit right there too, right? We can go ahead and see the offers right here. This is going to be helpful for storefront stalking. I'll show you guys how to do that in a sec as well for actually doing live product research. Now, a really, really underutilized SellerAmp feature that can make you a ton of money is going to be actually keeping your leads organized. So if we take a look at this product right here, we can see it's BuyBoxing for $37 on Amazon, right? So we can see our max cost is $16.18, right? If we take a look over here on Walmart, that same item's going for about $18. Right? So if we plug in $17.98 right there, we can see this is just barely profitable, but not quite profitable enough. So if we rock and roll down here to the chart, we can see in the past, this has gone for like $43 for a while, for several weeks in a row, right? So if this gets back to where it was at 43, this becomes a nice profitable product. So we can see this is not profitable today, but it's been nice and profitable over time. And a huge mistake beginners make is not tracking that stuff to come back to it in the future, right? So what most beginners do is they'd find an item like this, and then they would just keep it moving and say, okay, this is not good today. I'm just going to keep scrolling. Instead, what you should actually do is use the one-click export feature using the SellerAmp Google Sheet. So I can export this to an almost good spreadsheet, or say it was a lead that was, great. It was just out of stock. I'd add this to an out-of-stock spreadsheet, right? Or any spreadsheets for my favorite retailers, right? And that helps you organize your business a lot easier. And you guys see how that just populated right there. We can see this test example, right? January 11th, 2025, right there. So we can go ahead and see, nice and easy right there. So the SellerAmp Google Sheets is painfully underrated. It's actually really easy to set up. There's a really helpful tutorial on the SellerAmp YouTube channel. If you just search SellerAmp Google Sheets, that can help you go ahead and get that set up. I'd recommend at very minimum having an almost good spreadsheet, an out of stock spreadsheet, a purchased lead spreadsheet, and then spreadsheets for any of your favorite specific suppliers right there as well. Because you can organize different listings for when different, online arbitrage deals come back each holiday, so on and so forth too, right? We can see, go ahead and list this in Seller Central, access our inventory or our orders page as well. And you guys can see our lookup details when I've actually looked at this product as well. The BuyBox Analysis feature in SellerAmp is really, really helpful because there's actually a lot of opportunities when you can actually sell products above where it's currently going. And the SellerAmp BuyBox Analysis feature actually is going to show you when you can find those opportunities, right? So the cool thing is I can see over the past 90 days here, right, who's sold at the most expensive price, right? Who's won the buy box the most, right? So we can see this seller's got in the buy box, or this listing was literally out of stock, but 17% of the time the past 90 days, this seller's been in stock at 42, or in the buy box at 42. Meanwhile, this seller, 15% of the time has been at 37. So that means if there's any time this seller was undercutting this seller probably left some money on the table right there as well, right? So it's very, very important to use the buy box analysis and see if there's opportunity where the buy box is actually going above the lowest price, which is really helpful. What I'll also do when I'm looking to price a listing, typically when you're a beginner, you just want to match the current buy box. However, I'll also go ahead here and filter to last one using the buy box analysis on SellerAmp. And in this case, I can see that in the same minute here, one seller's buy boxing at 40 and one seller's buy boxing at 37. The way that breaks down is there's a certain geographic element to the buy box, and that if I'm in Pennsylvania and you're in California, we're probably going to see different sellers in the buy box because it's, certain inventories closer in different parts of the country and different Amazon warehouses, which makes a lot of sense. You can also eventually look at where other sellers are located and deduce buy box share based on that. But without getting too complicated, the buy box analysis feature on SellerAmp is super helpful for that as well. Another thing I like is the SellerAmp Web App. So what we can do to go ahead and access that is we can just click here, SellerAmp Web App, right? And then we can actually go ahead and see all this data laid out in one place if you want to access it like that. We can see the quick info over here, along with the Keepa chart, right? Along with the different sellers in this listing, along with the BuyBox analysis as well, and just get a good like holistic overview. This makes a lot more sense when you're looking at like potential wholesale purchases, right? And want to see, a ton of data laid out in one place. So the SellerAmp Web App is also included with the Chrome extension for online arbitrage, right? And the mobile app for retail arbitrage right there. So you can see the web app if you want to see like all the data laid out in one place there too. Another thing you guys really need to do from the get-go is use your SellerAmp settings correctly. So the way I'm going to get to the settings page on SellerAmp is just going to selleramp.com, signing in, and then going to the drop-down menu and going to settings. This is something you need to do right when you get SellerAmp, and that's going to be setting up your sales tax and buying criteria effectively. This is my buying criteria. Most of the products I've ever sold are below 1% rank, so we can see maximum BSR 1% in the category, minimum profit $3 per unit, minimum ROI 30% plus. And then this is very important for our additional costs here. This is where you need to go ahead and at minimum add in your inbound shipping cost at about 70 cents per pound and your MISC fee, which is going to be your sales tax percent at 6%. Don't add in $6 here. Make sure it's the percent one, right? And the way you're going to figure out what you should put in for the MISC fee percent is you're going to look up the sales tax rate in your specific state. So you can just find that on Google. Texas, for example, is 8.25. Florida, I think, is about 6.5%, right? And the cool thing is, now SellerAmp is going to take that into account and automatically add in inbound shipping and sales tax to the price. So it's very important to note, guys, when you add this in the profit calculator, this would be the number that does not include sales tax because SellerAmp is already taking into account that sales tax on the back end. So even if your cart total is $10 per unit plus 60 cents of sales tax and it comes out to the per unit, you would put $10 in here because this does not include sales tax right here because it's already included on the back end, right? If you guys got any questions about the stuff, let me know in the comments too, right? So when you initially get SellerAmp, you just want to go ahead and add in your MISC fee percent and then your inbound shipping. For the settings right here, and if you were using a prep center and a sales tax free state, you'd put 0% for the MISC fee, sales tax, and then put in your prep center cost right here. That's a little bit more advanced stuff. Then just come down here and hit save in these settings as well and get that nicely situated. Now, let's talk about how to use SellerAmp to find winning products. So a lot of beginners think the best way to find winning products is to just go to random websites and look through their clearance section. Personally, I think that's a big waste of time. What makes a lot more sense to you guys is what's called the storefront stalking method, which is basically looking inside of the storefronts of other sellers and tracking down other winning products from there. Because when we look inside the storefront of another seller, we can quickly see dozens or hundreds of products that sell quick on Amazon, and then all we need to be able to do is make those items profitable. So if we take a look at this Gap hoodie, we can see it's going for $49 in the buy box on Amazon, and then over on the Gap website, it's going for $29, right? Plugging that in, we can see that's just about break even. That's not quite there, right? But if I scroll down here on Gap on the website, I always want to be looking for other coupons. I can see there's a 20% coupon here, right? That I can just go ahead and sign up for again and again, just using different emails. Or I can set up what's called a catch-all email address, which I can set up once just using what's called Namecheap. You can look that up on YouTube for a tutorial. And now I can use that email coupon again and again here. So I can take off that 20%. Now I'm pretty close. I can also look up discounted gift cards on Cardbear, and I can see Gap. I can go ahead and get, another 10, 14, 15, 16% off right here. Discounted gift cards are incredibly helpful too for further creating online arbitrage profit margins, right? Lowering your buy cost, right? So if I go ahead here and take off, 16% here, right? Now I can see this becomes a nice profitable product. And you guys see how this item would not have been good without that 20% code and without those discounted gift cards, right? So now I can scroll down here to the other sellers on SellerAmp, right? And I can find sellers that have lots of reviews. Yeah, 1,300 reviews here, right? And now I can go ahead and open up their stores. Typically, you want to do people with 20 plus reviews, for example, right? So this seller's got 1,300, right? Now I can see other brands that people are making money on, right? And other categories here. And I can filter into the specific ones. And then listings that show up at the top of this, right, are going to be the fastest selling listings in the seller storefronts, right? So I can filter into specific brands. So say I want to look at Dansko, right? I can click Dansko and then I can see all the different Dansko listings right here. And then when I find a listing I think might be good, taking a look at the Keepa chart for stability, right here, I can go ahead and plug this in on Google just by clicking the Google button, right? And we can see, yeah, so then these like, yeah, 66, that's not quite there, right? And then we just want to make the numbers work, right? Considering the max cost on these items and then dig in, right? So it's like an 18K rank. I know for a fact people make money on this, right? And I can see, you know, in this case, right, the price just recently went up a bunch, right? So we need to pick this up for, yeah, $11 or less in the max cost. So all we need to do is go ahead and plug this in on Google here, right? Then we can see, okay, so this is like $10. Now this is a different item, but this looks like this could totally be good, right? Same thing with like these guys here. These look pretty cheap, right? So even though these are different items, I can go over to Amazon, right, and just pull this and then plug this in here. Yeah, Carter's right here, right? So 7, right? And then just do Carter's right here and then see if there's a matching Amazon listing, right? So let's see, taking a look at these guys here. Let's see. So yeah, $9.59. Right. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Right. So yeah, these are 29 right here. Right. They only have 16 reviews though. So these might not be that. Yeah. So we can see. Yeah. It's I think it's a 2.9 million rank. So this is actually a good example because this is nice and profitable at a $9.60 buy cost. Right. But it's only $8 profit. Right. We can see this is nice and profitable at a $9.59 buy cost into $29 sale price. The problem is it sells too slow. It's like a 2.8 million rank. So that's, you know, way far away from where we want to be. Right, let's take a look at this one as well. Let's see, right here, Carter's right here. Let's plug these in here. Let's see, we got a match. Aha, yeah, so these got 100 reviews, right? So this looks very promising, right? And finding profitable products isn't that hard. Like Storefront Stalking, you can pretty quickly see a bunch of products that sell quick, just taking a look inside these seller storefronts. And then you just need to figure out what websites carry that product, right? And then how I can actually go to make that good. Definitely watch the free course after this if you want to see, you know, a really good in-depth breakdown of that stuff here. Let's see, yeah, 2 to 3 here, right? So that's close, right at 9.59 here, right? We can see right there. What about 4 to 5 here, right? Boom. Okay, yeah, here we go, right? So this is good. So we can see, yeah, 9.59, right? 9.59 here into 29, $8 profit, 87% ROI. And I can go ahead and plug in here on Cardbear and see if there's an additional discounted gift card I can use on Carter's here, which we can see is totally the case, right? So say we take off like, you know, 10% right there, this becomes good. So we can see, yeah, $9 profit, 108% ROI. And then you guys can literally take the winning products you see in this video, right? And the Fruit of the Loom product and the Gap hoodies, right? And Storefront stock from there and this Carter's item and go ahead and find other winning products from there using the exact stuff you see in this video and using SellerAmp to go ahead and gauge the profit. So I hope this video was helpful, guys. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Make sure to get a 2-week free trial of SellerAmp to start your product research journey. Remember, you don't even need your Amazon account open to go ahead and get SellerAmp and start doing online arbitrage and start doing retail arbitrage with the all-in-one tool. And check out the free course right here if you want a ton of literally multiple hours of live product research. And I'll see you guys next one. Check out the full free course. Subscribe for more. See you guys soon.